So at 3 o'clock this morning, I woke up and the song lyrics went through my mind. And it was a song I've been playing quite a bit lately. I'm a Meatloaf guy, if you don't know that. I love Meatloaf, and the song is Alive. And the lyric that was going through my mind, I'm on a runaway train on a broken track. And that kept just playing over and over and over and over in my mind. And I says, oh my God, that's what it means to not be on a soul journey. Think about that right now. How many of us are caught up in our egos, in our minds, and we're on this track, and we're like a train on that track, and there's no place we can go because the track's got us. I mean, the wheels can't escape it. You can't just veer off of the track. You're stuck on the track. And guess what? The track's broken, and you're going to crash. Isn't that what life is to a large degree? And so you start wondering, well, wait a second, how do I get on the right track? What is the right track for me? How do I determine what that right track is? And that's when it really unfolded for me. That's the idea of what the soul is. The soul is this inner beingness within us that knows who we are, that's tapped into the infinite. It's that part of us that's always been and always will be. It's a part of us that doesn't die. It's that aspect that we call the Christ consciousness. It's the aspect of the Buddha consciousness. It is spirit in individualized form. And when we tap into that individualization that is soul within us, we can go forward. And so I started to look at what is this journey that we're on and how does a soul make a journey and what does it do that? And I remember Ernest Holmes, and this is one of my favorite quotes by Ernest Holmes. He says, there is a natural evolution in the demonstration of a prayer. And all the time I keep remembering growing up when I was brought up as a Catholic, as a young boy, and I would pray, I expected God to give me a prayer now. And then when I got into New Thought, into unity, into religious science, into Centers for Spiritual Living, and I explored that, I kept saying, yeah, I want it now. I can get my consciousness now. I was fooling myself. Because there is a natural evolution in the demonstration of a prayer. And we're going to follow that through. And when I say an evolution means to think, to speak, to act and to feel in total alignment with that which is desiring to be experienced. And it's only when that perfect unity has been created that stuff changes. Just because you say an affirmation doesn't mean it's going to change. Just because you act kind doesn't mean something's going to change. Just because you speak the right words or one day I feel blissful, it has to be a joint effort of all three specifically directed in a direction. So when we go further, we say, what does the soul care about? The soul only cares about who are we being, not what we're doing and not who we're with. How many times do you hear this if you're in the single world or if you're not in the single world and you're looking out? I'm looking for my soulmate. Doesn't exist. No such thing. I've said that 1,000 times before, and many people just come at me and say, well, Lee, you're wrong. No. The soul is whole, perfect, and complete as it is. It only wants another soul to dance with. It doesn't need another person. You don't need to have a partner to be happy in this life. It can be more fun. It doesn't have to be. You see, there's no right or wrong, and that's what we're trying to teach at Agape. There is no right or wrong, but what is coming up within you? What is desiring to be expressed within you? So it's not about doing a certain thing. It's not about being with a certain person. It's about who are you being every moment of every life. So here's the one. I love this one. It came to me yesterday morning when I was thinking about what we were talking about, and I said, when we follow our soul, we're on purpose and our life has meaning. It is here that internal guidance leads us step by step. And we've talked about this many times here at Agape. How do we find this uniqueness within us? And we go back to what we talk about all the time. It's about what are your unique values? What are those unique values that are totally unique to you that allow you to feel joy, to feel good, to feel alive, to feel juice, so that when you are doing what you love in that moment, there is no time. You've got all the energy in the world in that moment to do it. And when you're doing that, your expression comes forth. And then from that, you find that your highest vision and purpose comes to you. And when you've got that highest purpose, now you're living on soul time instead of soul train. But soul time's coming in. And the single biggest mistake that people make is they're waiting for the perfect right thing to do or event to be at or the perfect next step, and there is no such thing. Any step that you take in the direction of your purpose is the perfect step. The way I remember at the beginning I told you about the train, the runaway train on a broken track. Do you remember the cartoon? I don't remember what cartoon it was, but it was a cartoon of a train engine, and above it was this round cylinder, and there was track on it. And as a train went, the track would automatically lay down in front of the train, and then it would pick it up on the backside, so the train would just that. Picture your life that when you're aligned with your soul, the next step or piece of track is laid down. And all you've got to do is go that far. And when you get that far, another one is laid down, and another one is laid down. So the idea is that we don't have to have this grandiose end result of where we're going. We've just got to make a step and take an action, make a decision in the direction of where our internal being, our values, and our purpose desire us to go. That makes it really simple. You know, in the movie The Secret, Jack Canfield used the idea that when you're driving in the dark and there's nothing, your headlights shine 150 feet. All you've got to do is keep driving in the direction of that 150 feet, and before you know it, you'll have gone from New York to California because that 150 feet is always out in front of you. The same thing, your soul is always going to be guiding you with the next event, with the next decision to be made. And here's the thing, you can't make a wrong decision when you're on track. Because all you're going to do as soon as you make a decision this way and your direction is that way, the soul's going to give you a decision to go that way. And if you keep going further and further and further and further off, soul will let you know. And it will let you know because that's where your emotions come into play. And when we get so off track, spirit, soul, the divine energy within us will slap us upside the head with a cosmic 2x4. Ever been there? I've been slapped many a time. This is a thick-headed man. And it's taken time for me to realize to stop the thickness and let the beauty go in my ears and listen. And that's when you become humble, is when you're willing to say to the universe, you know better than I do. It's time for me to start to listen. The more I listen, the more I find my truth. Because my truth is not in being right. My truth is in being present. I think that's the real key thing about life. It's about, am I present in this moment? Or do I have this insatiable need to be right and allow my ego to soar? Again, this comes back to what I've just said. To take that first step toward whatever it is that inspires you. That's all you've got to do. And I go back to the time of being a minister, okay? I was a minister at first at the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas. That's where I started out, and I was giving a letter of call, and I was an assistant minister there. And I'd been there almost a year, and then situations occurred, and I was given an opportunity to consider something. And I realized in that moment, something in me said, you need to be on stage all the time. You have a message that you want to give, and it's one of my top 2 values, speaking and teaching. It's one of my top 2 values. And I didn't know what to do. I've never started a spiritual center. I had no idea. I simply declared out to my minister at the time, I said, Reverend Petra, in March of 2009, I'm going to start my center. Until then, I will stay here. And then January 31st, I left, and I had 10 people that followed me, and we put together a vision, and then on March 1st, 2009, we took that step, and we had our first service. We're now 7+ years in, and we're going strong. I mean, it is incredible, the growth. When I look at what we've done with the number of people that come to Agape, the number of people that have been in classes, the number of people that have watched our YouTube, we've had over almost 80,000 watches on YouTube. We've had 180,000 podcasts downloaded on iTunes. How many lives have been touched by this idea that is here? And that's the purpose. You see, the purpose is not having big numbers. The purpose is, can we touch more lives? Can we give people the spark? Can we teach people that there's a soul within them that is desiring to express and to experience itself? And can we allow them the safety of an environment where they can come together and be that? Oh my God, that's the gift. That's truly the gift. That's all there is. And it started with one step. And so our step when we started out, the only one that's here from the beginning, is it Bob? Are you the only one left from the beginning? Who was here at the beginning? Lee Thompson was at the beginning. Glenna was here at the beginning. Luann was here at the beginning. There are 4 that are still here. We envisioned, oh, my wife. You know, not only did she raise her hand, but she gave me the stink eye. You know what that is if you've ever gotten it. And it's, you know, she's sweet, and everyone said she did a great job talking last week, and I watched it. She did a beautiful job. But just rest assured, as sweet as she is, the stink eye is just as bad. Where was I going now? Oh. So our vision was to have our own building. We want our own building. I'll share with you this. Having your own building doesn't mean you have to be there 7 days a week. But I want you to know that on, is it January 1st of 2017, we will be in our own building. 4 Sundays, we will be in our own building, and it is friggin' incredible. That's a demonstration of prayer. How did we do that? One step at a time. One step at a time. And it's not just one person. It's when you take one step at a time and you've got support people and they're joining you and that energy is following you, you never feel alone. Do you get that? You're never alone because you're taking a step knowing you're supported by all of these other beings that have the same idea in mind. And the idea in mind is, how can we express love at a deeper level? We had a board gathering last night where we were honoring, and I'm going to say this now, Danielle Dupree. Chris is here today. Danielle, is she with the kids or is she resting? She's resting. She partied too much last night. And our fantastic Justin over here, they were on our board and they went off the board. So we had a gathering last night of the board members to celebrate them. What I will share with you as Gene and I left the gathering, I don't know that I've ever felt more comfortable with a family than I did with the people that are at Agape. I say that not to brag about how close the board is. I say that so that you can feel that your opportunity to be a part of this family is just as deep. That you can come into this place and you can be yourselves, and you will be accepted as you are with no judgment. And your authenticity is welcome. It is welcome here. And know that with that authenticity, we will guide you to a deepening of finding your true path. Because you're not here to just be you as you are. You're here to grow. Here's the one that really got me. Until you make that first decision in the direction of, you have blocked yourself from being open to anything new to follow. Do you see that? That one should really hit you. The second you've stopped yourself from making one little step, you've stopped yourself from making an infinite number of steps that would follow. That's the key point. So when you take that step, know that that spirit within you, and I'm not saying spirit outside of you, I'm not saying a soul outside of you, I'm saying there's an infinite power and presence that is within you, that is acting through you, that is acting for you, that will cause you to experience all that you desire. And your purpose is to know that divine wisdom in you guides and directs your every thought, word, and action, and to be comfortable enough to know that you cannot do anything but succeed because the power that created all that is the power that you are. And in that direction that you give it, it must be made so because it is law. Wow. It's law. It has no choice. It gives as you believe. The question I want to look at you and ask is, do you believe you deserve to be the greatness that you came to be? So many times we hide, not understanding that we came into this being, into this planet, into this consciousness of humanness to be greater than anything we can imagine. And yet we've allowed ourselves to just play small. Don't ever play small. That's the worst thing we can do. We hide behind these masks. We hide behind these bodies. We hide behind these clothes. Everyone, get up and get naked. I'm kidding. I don't have Kool-Aid in the back either. Bob Clesath would stand up, you know. I honor him for his uniqueness. The idea is, be naked with your truth. Do you follow that? You don't have to be shy about taking down your mask and taking down all the coloring that you've done to hide yourself from everyone else, and just be you. Just be you. Because when I look at you through the eyes that see God, I see perfection. When I look at you through the eyes that see God, I see that without you, the infinite that we call God is not complete. I see that you were created as you are because that's what God wants to be. Do you feel that? You are what God wants to be. And I'm not talking about an anthropomorphic being, a humanized being. I'm talking about an infinite, eternal presence. You are an infinite expression within the all-infinite. You are all-powerful. You are all-knowing. You have always been. You will always be. There's no reason for you to ever be small again. Stand up, look in the mirror, and see the new you. I promise you, you will like it. Let's go within. I want to thank you for joining us today. I am so grateful that you took your time to watch or listen to this message. If you found this message beneficial, I would ask you to go to our website. Once there, click on the Contribute button and experience the joy of conscious and purposeful giving. It is through your gifts that we are able to bring this message to the world. I would also ask you to please share this message with anyone you feel might benefit. Again, I want to thank you for joining me and the Agape community as together we bring joy to life.